Hello my wonderful geese! Welcome back to my channel. I am Shamali and today we are back on Pondsettia, my decor island, for the first episode of the tutorial series How to be a better builder. The first step before you start building on anything on your island is planning. In future video I will also teach you how to select your designs, plan your builds, and some terraforming and waterscaping tutorials. Here is my way of planning an island, and there are as many ways of planning as there are creators. So tell me in the comments what you absolutely do when it comes to planning on your island. On my side, I always start with picking a theme. And a theme is not mandatory. You can also feel free to build without labeling your island. But for me, it helps creating a little brainstorming cloud of ideas to plan better. Here are some general theme ideas if you're struggling to find an aesthetic that pleases you. You could get inspired by a season, by a holiday, by some type of terrains, by some items, or maybe by the type of villagers you want to take on your island, like me, a decor island. You may wonder, a theme is great, but how to make my island unique? Well, I would not speak in terms of uniqueness, but of UCore. Animal Crossing came out 3 years ago, and here's to the time flying. So there always will be that somebody who did it before you, and you may try also to combine themes or maybe add a unique build so that your island feels totally unique. And trust me, there is room for all of that. But the most important is that the island pleases you. And if you don't have an island that pleases you, you will never find joy in building, so you will drop it before the end. So don't think of uniqueness, think of UCore. The good news of having somebody who did it before is there is a ton of inspiration to help you. So this is my second tip for you: get inspired. Before you start looking for inspiration on internet, take a piece of paper and let's do an exercise together. Let's brainstorm. I will do it for me. Feel free to pause the video and do it for your own theme if you'd like. For me, I'd like to write my theme name in the middle, but you could place a picture, a word, anything to get you started. Decor means duck, and ducks mean for me pond and nature. And nature would also mean green, lush, and maybe best looking in springtime. I already did a spring island, so I don't want to redo the same things, so I'm gonna be careful about this. And then we can also go back to pond, and for me a pond is something on a flat land, so less terraforming and waterfalls, but a lot of waterscaping and a lot of water in general. Back to duck. A duck for me is usually yellow and white too, so I think I'm gonna start with those color scheme on my island as a guide. And then for yellow, for example, I know I can base myself on some flowers. I know I can use, for example, some wheat fields, so I can take that into my mind and starting to think of items, but I will keep those for later. This way, I already have some kind of pictures of the aesthetic I'm looking for. Whenever you are looking for inspiration, before you even go to Animal Crossing inspiration, I would really advise you to go to real life. If you have a vague idea of your theme, what are the feelings you are experiencing right now towards it? Have you seen something like this in real life? For example, for me, decor reminds me of this park I used to go when I was a child to watch and feed the ducks, the geese, and the swan. And although I have this aesthetic in my mind, the feeling I have is some nostalgia feeling. And something else that makes me feel nostalgic and I can relate to is like the fields that are nearby my house that I used to go to when I was younger, like biking. And they have a lot of yellows too, so it could match. So I'm keeping those images in my head. Also, another inspiration I was watching is like I was watching a manga the other day, and some of the color inspired me too. So I want to make sure to add some elements into my mood board, and every idea you have, add it to the mood board, either the mental picture you have or on the piece of paper or digital paper you are working on. And it can be pictures, it can be words, it can be drawing, anything that helps you. Whenever you feel like you have enough ideas from real life or you're a bit dried out, it is finally time to open the Holy Inspiration website. YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. Check out everything. Whether it fits or not your theme, you might like a feature in this island and then the river bending on that island or a pattern on this one right there. Note everything you like and then add it to your mood board. See how the brainstorming is turning into some giant inspiration piece? At this point, I have a global idea of what I want, so I'm gonna start planning the villagers I love to have on this island. In my case, it is fairly easy. I want ducks. It is up to you to know if you want a villager of each personality or not. I would say a good rule of thumb is it is important if you want to have all the reactions and DIYs or try to get as much as possible, then take all the villagers' personality. Otherwise, feel free to do it as your gut inspires you. And I would say pick the villagers that matches your theme the most, although it is, as my own opinion, fairly enjoyable to have different personality types, but you could totally go for a normcore island with actually just normal villagers, like I thought it was before. When I pick the villagers, I look at their color, their personalities, their species, and what could match my aesthetic the most. It is easier whenever I give them backstories like I did on Filminora 2.0, because they come with build IDs as well. Here I want cute ducks working for my spring island, but I will have more than 10 choices, so first found means first join the island. And picking villagers is always the easiest and funniest part for me. I love to try to work with villagers who were never on my island before, and I try to stay open-minded for change of hearts. Add the villagers you like to your mood board if you'd like to help them inspire you a bit more. If you don't own a happy home paradise, you might also want to consider the villager homes as a big decision factor. It used to matter for me before, but now I just prefer to pick my villagers for the theme. Now it is time for the first step and picking the designs. Sadly, this is gonna be a short part because I don't have the Able Sisters unlocked yet because the design picking always helped me before I lay out the island, because they give me a general idea on how the path might go on this island. Luckily, I have some ideas of what I want for the island, which doesn't block me for the next step, and I also have saved some paths on Pinterest to go back to them quickly. So I have a rough idea on what the pathing of this island will be. If you need help to pick designs, this will be the tutorial for next week, so consider subscribing to my channel, do not miss that video. Whether or not you have your design, it is not blocking to do the last step of my planning routine, the general layout. I will take my map and take a few notes of important builds. For example, the river mouth. You cannot move them, so you better plan some waterscaping around these. Best to keep that in mind. And then you probably cannot move the resident service as well. So one of the first builds usually done in the community is some kind of linking between the entrance and the resident service. So I will already mark some vague path ID to connect the two of them. I also said I wanted to keep my museum in a tent. This has big implications, as you can't move the museum in this form, so you better place it in a place where it's gonna be final, and you have to be careful because you don't want its location to block yourself from making progress on the island. In this case, I kind of want my museum to be part of the entrance, so I think that could be cute, so I know I'm gonna place it nearby the entrance without blocking myself too much. I usually don't plan as much my layout because I'm a trust the process girl. So I place all my building on the beach so they don't stop me from building. But what I do for sure at this stage of the process is start making a general list of items I want to reuse everywhere on my island. Like duck toys, of course, wheat fields. I took some notes of gazebos and castle walls as well, maybe some mushroom stool. I take note of this rough list of ID and start working my way towards getting them either by myself, via trade on Discord and Nookazon, or even treasure islands. I keep this item on the beach mainly because my storage is not big enough yet. This is also when I start planning the type of tree, bushes, and flowers I want to work with. In the description, you will find a website listing the bushes of the game and their blooming time, considering you want or not blooming bushes on your island. I often work with 1 or 2 type of bushes on my island and a maximum of 4 type of flowers and colors to not overwhelm myself. I will also link some Pinterest ideas of flower garden you can reuse if picking flowers is difficult for you. At this point, you should almost be ready to start building on your island. Are you excited? Because I am. In the next video, I will show you how to pick your design and make some in-game mood board to help you a bit in your planning process. After that, I will explain my process to plan builds and give you some building tips so you can be the best builder. Don't miss any of those videos by clicking the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed all the tips I gave you, don't hesitate to put a thumbs up to the video. Thank you so much! Let me know in the comments your planning process and what tip helps you the most. Good luck building and see you soon!